Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Pretty
Good
good.
morning.
So I'm going to start a new tradition here. If you are new to Remax Select Group, if you want to just introduce yourself before we get started with the topic.
Happy Friday. This is Maritza. Oh, you see my name there. And I'm new and I'm happy to be here.
All right, and Maritza, why don't you tell everybody what they wouldn't think is obvious? So you work in, go ahead, share that information.
Oh, okay. So I was living in Boynton Beach, Florida, and now I'm here in Pittsburgh area, Allison Park, Pennsylvania. I am here because my son called me back in March and said, "Ma, what are your plans? Because Joey's going to be a year old and I want you to be a big part of his life." And I'm like, "Okay, Papito, I'm moving there." So I sold my house and I'm here. And then I got my license here, but I've had my customers there for so long and I want to, of course, continue serving them. And I've joined Remax Select. I'm happy to be part of your family.
And in Pittsburgh, your company name is?
Oh, yes, and the company name, that was a sign, Remax Select. Well,
But it's nothing to do with me.
no, nothing to do with you. Remax Select Realty, and they have 13 offices here too, just like Remax Select in Florida has so many offices. They're wonderful as well. So I said I have to join Remax Select in Florida because I used to be with advisors, but they're no longer going to be a franchise. So I'm happy to be here. And thank you for all your help. You've been wonderful.
Well, welcome to the family.
And it's not that cold. And it's not that cold. And now we're going to have an early spring. So thank God.
Yeah. So if you refer to Maritza at Remax Select in Pittsburgh, it's the same name, but it's not me. And I just thought that was an interesting coincidence. Anybody else want to introduce yourself quickly before we get rolling if you're new?
Hey, Maritza, it's Andrew. I'm glad you're aboard.
Happy
I'll say hi.
How are you? Good to see
Anna,
you.
were you
Hello, this is Anna, and I'm new. I just start. I just got my license, and I just joined to Remax Select Group, so everything is new for me.
welcome to the family, Anna.
Thank you so much.
I see some others. If you're bashful, it's okay. I'm not going to call you out, but I see some other new faces on here. This is really exciting. If there's
Well,
no
I'm
one
new.
else,
My name's Whitney. I'm Whitney Zora Stetler. I'm on the west side of Florida. I'm with the Howler Group. I'm super blessed to be working with Fajia and Rob and Erica and Sarah and Lisa and but most especially I'm really blessed to work with David Haller and I'm learning so much from y'all. And I met Alexa and Colleen yesterday. It was really a cool group, and you guys have a wonderful energy. So thank you for these training sessions.
welcome to the family. We'll do last call for new intros, and you still get credit to introduce yourself for the first month if you want to do it next week if you're not prepared, if you're new. If you I can't see exactly who's there in Vero Beach, but if you want to wave up our new office there, taking the call together. Before I get started, I'm going to introduce our Florida lending partner, Motto Mortgage. Motto is a franchise just like Remax. So Frank is truly part of our company. And if you're in Florida, I want to introduce you to Frank Delpeche. I don't know if you're on and you have a moment there, Frankie.
I am here. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. So
Happy Friday.
Good morning. And welcome to all the new agents to the family of Remax. Just wanted to give a quick update on the market. Unemployment numbers came out this morning. They were favorable to the economy, but not great for mortgages. Anytime the economy does well, puts a little pressure on rates. So economists were expecting 185,000 new jobs. They came out with actually 353,000 new jobs. So it's putting a little bit pressure on mortgage rates this morning, but overall interest rates are great. They're 100 basis points better than they were just even 6 months ago. And I was doing a little calculation just in the last about a day or two. I had a couple people that I wanted to retouch with. they were pre-approved up to 500,000, but with the rates coming down and the rates looking like they're starting to come down again, these buyers are now approved for a $580,000 house. So with lower rates, builds up your, buying power. So anybody that was pre-approved just even a couple months ago, have them re-up their pre-approval to see if they can get a little bit more of a home, because it's a competitive market right now. And you want to position your buyers to be in the best position possible. Speaking of being in a good position, as Rob said, Motto Mortgage, we are a franchise, we're a broker. We broker out to many, many different lenders. I have probably 20 plus lenders in my portfolio, hundreds of products. So with that being said, having the ability to sort out and to search for the best product is a great thing. UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, they're the #1 lender. They funded about $127 billion last year for about 350,000 loans. So being a partner like that and aligning yourself with good partners, just like you do with your mortgage reps and your title companies and attorneys, and having a great leader in Rob and positioning yourself, we do the same thing. We try to position ourselves with great investors. So one thing I want to do too is just talk about getting approval. Being pre-approved is one thing, but we've talked about this many times on this platform here. Getting approved is a little bit better than a pre-approval. Getting approved means you've taken out all the underwriting questions, you've run it through our underwriting system, and now they become a buyer that can close relatively quick because they've already gone through the underwriting process. So it's super important to get approved for mortgage versus pre-approved, and we can all do that. All it is now it'll be subject to the appraisal and title. Once those come in, you can close. Our average clear to close time is 14 days. I actually just closed a loan in 9 days for one of our partners in Florida. Her son was buying home. We closed them in 9 days. And the reason why we did it so quickly was because he put an offer in on a home, and the seller said, the agent on the other side said, how fast can you close? So my client called me and said, Frank, realistically, what do you think? I said, well, let's do it in 2 weeks. The attorney thought I was crazy, but I said, listen, we can get it done. We actually got the loan cleared in 6 days and closed the loan in 9 days. So it's super important to get approved for a mortgage, take out those questions of the income, the debts. So positioning yourself in this strategic market is super important, because with lower interest rates, prices are still going up. It's going to be more competitive when you're out there searching for new homes.
Well, it's all about helping close more transactions with less stress.
It is, absolutely.
And Frank, I appreciate that. And it's exciting to see how, the Motto partnership is putting you in touch with people that can close loans quickly with less stress, which is really super exciting.
Absolutely.
So I want to move on to today's topic, and today's topic is not about purely like converting listings. It's about getting listing appointments. Okay, so it's that thin piece, that thin fine line before you get to a listing opportunity. And I'm always trying to find new thought leadership and new ideas. And I came across a gentleman by the name of Tom Toole online. He's a RE/MAX guy out of Mainline, Pennsylvania. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is based upon his personal business model, which he's sharing. And I'm going to put this out here today. I guess it's big news. Tom is actually going to speak at one of our upcoming Friday masterminds, either in 2 weeks from today or 3 weeks from today. I'm coordinating that with him. He's has anybody ever seen Tom Toole on Tom Ferry or on any of the podcasts that he does? If you have, raise your hand. So Ron,
Toole is great.
Ron, do you have any thoughts on Mr. Toole? You have to unmute yourself. You're on mute.
Yeah, I saw him on Tom Ferry. He's a killer. I mean, he's got a good staff,
good program. This some of the things that I picked up from him was, you got to be different than the traditional realtor when you list a property and you go to a listing presentation. It was quite interesting. I'm anxious to hear him again, but that interview he had with Tommy was great.
I mean, and Ron, you've been in the business for how long? Humor me.
Well, 40 years.
And you and I probably both consume more content from thought leaders than the newbies do, right?
Yeah, I did.
So anyway, I'm super excited to have him participate. And if you're a team leader, he's also volunteered to join us on one of our Monday 8:30 team leader calls for those team leaders. And he's done, I think, 390 transactions last year with his team. So without further ado, he'll be coming on. I'm going to share with you some of his content. And I'm also, let me find where my document is before I go online here. And on the emails that are going out that you're getting now, you have now a link in the BombBomb email. I'm going to show that to you.
Rob, could I mention something?
Absolutely.
Tom Toole did a battle of the objection handlers at a Tom Ferry event with another RE/MAX team leader, or against her, I should say. And it's a classic. If you could get a copy of that video from him, it's incredibly helpful.
Go on YouTube.
Yeah,
I've tried.
I'll get that. I'll find that for us before we have him come on. Here's the new outline of the links that are going out, and I put the script, the show notes here, okay, in the BombBomb. And a lot of times, if you click on it before the show starts, it'll be blank because I'll finish up my content and post it there the morning of. And then you have the link to the Zoom with RE/MAX. Then over here, you can click and find the previous masterminds. Okay, those are on our YouTube channel. Okay, so that's just a little bit of housekeeping. And then here's the sheet that I have from Tom, and I put the actually, let me do this for a second. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I just want you to get a look at this here before.
One big thing about being a landlord and property manager is proper tracking of everything.
I'm going to handle the 4 most common objections for setting appointments with sellers. Objection handling. It's something I'm a big fan of. I've practiced. I've learned the scripts. I've put in the work to be able to handle these objections. But there's an important thing. You've heard me say this before, that they're not objections. They're questions. They're gifts, in fact, because it means someone's thinking about moving ahead with a transaction and they want to get some clarity on a few things. Or they're nervous and they need someone to guide them. So change your mindset on these objections. And I'm going to break down the 4 most common objections that have come up and are related to appointment setting with sellers. So here's number 1.
So I'm
a little uncertain about the market, or the timing's not right. Now, this may be a condition. We'll talk about conditions at the end. If it's not a condition, or you...
Yeah, I don't want to play the entire video. I put the link there for you. You can watch that on your own. But, it takes a lot to impress me. And, I'm talking to, probably...
Did you send us that link, Rob?
The link is in the document, which is in the Mastermind invite.
Okay.
You open up the document on the Mastermind invite, there's a blue link to watch that video.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll tell you, I actually, when I listened to some of the structure of the language, I'm rewinding the video and I'm listening to it so that it plays into my head, so it comes second nature. You can't, in my opinion, you can't listen to it once and then absorb and possess that knowledge. And Ron, I don't know about you, but when you watch these videos, do you find yourself like rewinding it and listening to it 2 or 3 times for the finer points of that?
Constantly, yes.
Okay, so I don't care how smart, how experienced you are, like if you listen to it, you're like, that makes a lot of sense. You know, play it back, listen to it, write it down, own it. There's a difference between knowing something and immersing yourself in it, right? When you immerse yourself in it, it's like in every cell of your body versus just, hey, I heard that, but I'm not quite sure. Because then you're going to hesitate and it's not going to come across the correct way and you're going to lose business. And I'll give credit where credit is due. Tom Toole on a different podcast said, don't practice with your paycheck. Right? I mean, that's why role playing is important, because if you don't role play and learn exactly how that has to come out of your mouth, you're basically practicing with your paycheck. Okay. So, watch the video, you know, maybe watch it a few times. You know, I'm super excited to have him talk to our group, and I'm going to go into some of his content.
Yeah, my Thursday classes, we do role play. FISBOs, expireds, cold calling, just general role play, which is good, helpful to the agents.
And Ron, it's real important. Today's session is not on listing objections. It's listing appointment objections, right? It's the objection to get the appointment. And probably the first challenge with getting listing appointments is consistency. And, you know, to have consistency, you need to have discipline in scheduling, not just willpower. And I want to repeat that. To have a consistent business, to have success on this listing business, you need to have consistency and discipline, not just willpower, because willpower will only last so long. You need to have that scheduled in, have that as a discipline, so that you are consistent with your activities that will drive your results. The first of his 4 objections is, I'm a little concerned about the market, or the timing isn't right. Okay, the timing might not be right because they have a low interest rate. The timing might not be right for a lot of reasons. And I believe this is the same theory or the same practice that you do with a lot of answerings. I think it's called ARC. You acknowledge, you respond, and I'm not even sure what the C is, but he says, I'm a little concerned about the market. The timing isn't right. I totally understand. If I could show you how you can navigate through all these conditions and what's happening in the market right now and make this move happen for you in a stress-free manner, would you be open-minded to a strategy session or planning a meeting to go over what it would look like for you? It's a really long run-on sentence, but I think it checks all the boxes. Right? I mean, I'll bet you that there's a lot of us on this call that have people that probably should be listing, but they're holding off on it now, maybe because of interest rates, maybe because of other reasons. Does anybody have any clients that, you know, are on the bubble about moving and just can't get off the dime? Heather? What's the challenge in your opinion?
One, she just says, okay, it just yeses me to death. Another one I met with, they have to sell this home in Emerson. Gave them great advice. They loved me. Then they just like, I end up texting myself in a lot of these situations. I'm just talking to myself.
Now,
And
Heather,
yes.
Heather, let me ask you, I want to break it down as we're talking. Now, that can be frustrating, right? When you text and they don't respond, right? Especially if you feel you had a good meeting.
Of course, I call too. Yes.
No, so you text and you call, right? And I want to break this down for you for a minute, because I think a lot of people get frustrated. And because we're talking about Tom Toole's method, I'm going to just share with you a piece of his mindset. you know, he had said on another one of his webinars where he's like, you know what? When you reach out to people and they don't respond, a lot of us get frustrated. We're like, no, I must have did something wrong. Maybe they changed their mind, right? And he's like, that's a flawed mindset. Okay, that's a flawed mindset. And he gave an example, and if I wouldn't be able to find the interview, but he gave an example of, you know, he lost a lot of weight and he needed to get new clothes. And he has a tailor he's been using for 20 years. Told the tailor, hey, I'm going to need to get a whole new wardrobe. I lost 30 pounds. The woman kept texting him every week, calling him, texting him. He didn't respond. He said it must have been for 10 weeks. And he showed on the podcast, he's like, here's all the text messages. Look at them. I didn't respond to her. But he's like, when it was time, I reached out and I called her because I respected the fact that she followed up. I was not annoyed by her following up because I told her I needed it. And he said that he then hired her as an agent as well. But think about what our mindset does to us, Heather. Like, you might get frustrated and saying, maybe there's something wrong. And, you know, Tom was saying, you know, I just needed to figure out where my weight was going to be before I ordered my suits. He's like, I had that same analogy in my own business, and it could be, you know, somebody was sick. There was a family member that came over. There were things outside of our control that were causing them to disengage and had nothing to do with us. Okay.
I add something to that?
Absolutely. Please.
Yeah, Heather, I mean, when you're texting these sellers and they're not responding, they are keeping your text, and when they're ready, you're going to be the one they're going to call, only because you're in touch with them continually and consistently. So, you know, don't feel that you're bothering them, or don't feel that, you know, they're just ignoring your text. When they're ready, they're going to call you. They're just not ready yet. So just keep on doing what you're doing. It works.
I mean, it's a badge of honor, you know, when you follow up. And, you know, the biggest complaint from the public about real estate agents is what? Who wants to guess?
It's
Anybody?
Lisa from Florida. Lack of communication and follow-up.
Lack of follow-up. That's the biggest complaint. You know, they didn't get back to me when they said they would. Okay, they didn't return my phone call. It's surprisingly, it's not lack of knowledge, because there's a lot of them with lack of knowledge. But the public is like, you know, real estate agents as an industry, they just have horrible communication skills. They just don't return phone calls. They don't get back when they say they will. So,
Rob, something, please. I had an experience a few years ago, where I had a lead, and I continued to follow up with her and text her and email her, and I didn't get a response from her. And it was like, but I continued because she had reached out to me first. So I continued. And then like 3 years later, because I continued after 3 years, 3 years later, I had a call from her father-in-law, and the father-in-law said, I'm reaching out to you because my daughter-in-law says you're her realtor, and she referred me to you. And she had never used me, and she had never responded. After her father-in-law purchased, she also purchased a home a couple of years later. So just don't give up on following up. Continue to do it. It does work.
right. And you know, it's funny. I'm down here in our Virginia Beach office, and Bridget, you're on, right? There you are. So we're sitting here and we're talking about how, you know, some sellers, their big resistance is, oh, I need to get the house ready, right? And
Yep.
do you remember my comment? When I
If
looked
the
it up?
Eiffel Tower was built in 1 year and 45 days.
Empire State Building. close
Empire
enough.
State Building. I'm sorry.
Like some people, like, I need 6 months to get my house ready to go on the market. I'm like, you know, that seems a little bit excessive.
Yeah.
And like they built the Empire
Touch up
State
and
Building
paint.
in 13 months.
Right.
So you need to put things into perspective, and I think if you can help people and just have that levity to resolve some situations that don't need to be as long and drawn out as they are. And I think people are stressed about selling a house. They don't have the information. They don't know who to trust, right? So it's basically our job not to give them a pass because they're afraid. Say, hey, I'm here to help if you have any questions. You know, what might your concern be? Okay. So
I tell
that's
the
good.
agents, you know, when they get a seller like that, that says, I'm not quite ready, I want to put the house in condition. What I tell my seller with those sellers, I just tell them, well, let me come by and take a look at the property. I'll give you some tips of what you need to do, because I don't want you to spend unnecessary money that you don't need to spend. So let me come by and take a look at it, and then I'll give you some pointers what you need to do to put it in shape. And it probably costs you a whole lot less if we can get it sold in this market that we're in right now, which is a good market, and get you to point B. And that usually works.
Yep. Thanks, Ron. So here's a couple of things that I extracted from this Tom tool, objection handling. Objections are communications that get in the way of an appointment. Okay, so they're just something that gets in the way of an appointment. It's not a roadblock, okay? So he says, acknowledge the objection, address it, go for the close, and if you can't go for the close, ask another question.
Rob, real quick, sometimes people are not ready. So I put them on the MLS system, Real Scott, and Real Scott will send them every couple of weeks an updated value on their property. The best thing about that is you can see that they're always opening it. So even though they may not be ready, they're still seeing your face every time that report comes in and every time they click, and that keeps you in their front mind.
So that's addressing that follow-up thing head on, Andrew. And I appreciate you sharing. That was Real Scout, right?
Yeah, it's a system with the MLS down here in Florida. So you just set them up so that the report goes out once a month, and then you can see when they open it, and then I usually follow up with a text message.
Fantastic. So I'm going to read these nuggets I pulled out of the presentation, and then once you watch it, maybe watch it a few times, you read my notes, it will become ingrained. Objections are communications that get in the way of an appointment. Objections are not something that ends the conversation, okay? Acknowledge the objection, address it, go for the close. That means set the appointment or ask another question. Okay, acknowledge the objection, address it, move for the close, and if you can't close, ask another question. Whoever asks the most questions controls the conversation. Does anybody disagree with that?
No.
So if you're asking the questions, you're in control of the conversation, and then, you can provide the solution by probing for the problem through questions. And then I love this one here. Objections are not objections. They are questions and gifts. And they mean they are thinking about moving ahead with a transaction, and they want to get clarity, or they are nervous and they need someone to guide them. Objections are not objections. They are questions and gifts, as they mean they are thinking about moving ahead with the transaction and they want to get clarity, or they are nervous and they need someone to guide us. That's why we have relevance, folks. Like if the process was simple and can be completed by clicking a button on the computer, like buying something on Amazon, we'd all have to look for a new profession. But we're the person that can give them that clarity and guidance. So objection 2, the house isn't ready now. We have a lot of work to do before selling. General response, getting a home ready for the market is a big chore. Just imagine what it would be like if someone gave you specific guidelines to prep the property and get it ready for the market. Most people don't know what to do, and our clients have found that super helpful. I just think that's powerful. Getting a home ready for the market is a big chore. Imagine what it would be like if someone gave you specific guidelines to prep the property and get it ready for the market. Most people don't know what to do, and our clients found this super helpful. What do you think of that?
It's our job to get them ready. Our job to get them to realize, overspending and doing things that are unnecessary.
But wouldn't that stomp out a lot of fear if people knew that, hey, open up, we'll share with you the path to getting this done. And that takes them out of their cocoon, because now they know we're here to help. And by saying, our clients have found this to be super helpful, they're probably like, all right, maybe now I can see myself as being one of your clients. Objection 3, we don't know where to go. All right, everybody in New Jersey, just say Florida. Just kidding. Hey, I get it. This is something that most people are concerned about now. The good news is that we have seen the months of supply of homes up for sale increase over 30% in our local marketplace. So there may be more options for you available that you didn't even know about. The market moves quickly and the best homes do sell fast. So would it help? I'm sorry. So it would help. Would it help if we met to review how the increase in supply would affect your home search and how we can identify opportunities quickly? And basically, what he is peddling or talking about is, I don't know, maybe it was 2 years, 3 years ago, I did a mastermind about the inventory shortage myth, right? And I want to just put this in your head because this is really true. I would say the sales volume over the past year is probably down on average 20%, right? And the inventory levels that are available for you to go show when you run available properties is probably down 95% off of like a 2019 market. Would you all agree, like the amount of homes that you can show are very, very limited still?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For sure.
But what's happening is, and I want to be real clear about this for everybody on this call, we're now at 100 people plus myself. So I feel like I want everybody to, stop overthinking and just let this sink in. Inventory is down at least 90% off of pre-pandemic levels. Sales are down 20%. So the numbers don't jive until you realize this part, is that the shelves are being stocked 80% of the way, but they're just removed from the shelf quickly because you don't have the luxury of time that you had before, right? So it's more important now that you have an advocate looking for those opportunities for you, because stuff doesn't sit, good properties don't sit on the market that long. Andrew, Andrew Velez, what is a good property in your market? How long does that stay on the market for?
Well, if it's priced right, a couple of weeks. If it's not, 90 days.
I mean, and it's not super uncommon for things to be gone in 5 days, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I put a condo up and in
I just used I just used that one of our things and they wrote me back. I just used used one of the things. Rob, but it's for a rental of a house. It's for a rental, but still in Ridgewood. She keeps telling me what?
I told you, keep on doing it. Don't stop.
She keeps telling me whatever. She
That's
wasn't
all part
listening.
of following up. So follow
I
up.
said, hi, I
follow up.
hope all's well. I can help you get the house prepped. Where are we in the process? Let me know. And she just said, hi, still trying to empty out the stuff, getting there. Hopefully by next week you can get in and see it.
Perfect.
Very good.
Maritza, what's the inventory like in Pittsburgh? Like how many days for a good home to sell?
Yes, Yes, they're selling also in just a few days. Very low inventory here as well. They don't stay.
So if you're just looking, tunnel vision at the market, you'd be like, well, there's not much on the market, right? It's a really tough market to buy. But if I'm going to reprogram all of your brains here today, okay, by just sharing with you that sales are down on average 20%. Inventory is down 90%. So that still means almost everybody that wants to buy a house, like 80% of the transactions from the year before are still occurring. So you just need to have a different strategy to find that inventory quicker. You need a different strategy to find the inventory quicker, and you need to be prepared better. I know Frank and in New Jersey, Renee and her team talked about, talking to your lender, getting pre-approved, getting everything set up ahead of time. Those things matter. Okay. So inventory and business aren't the same. And when people say, I don't know where I would move, I don't see a whole lot on the market, it would be helpful if we had this conversation saying that, look, as a seller, you're in a really good position. And as a buyer, you have inventory, you have availability if you pick the right advocate for you. Sales are only down about 20%, which means that property is still moving. It just doesn't sit on the shelf as long. It doesn't stay on the market as long. Okay. And I think that there's another piece that will help complete this whole mindset. And if not, I'm going to add my own 2 cents on Tom's list. Okay, nope, this is not it. So I'm going to add my 2 cents here. If they say, I don't know where I would go, a bonus here is, in Florida or in Jersey, we're finding that because of the low inventory, we're able to get favorable conditions. And what many of my sellers are finding is that they can get a post-occupancy agreement so that they don't have to move the same day because inventory is so short. Does that make sense? Right? Has anybody done a post-occupancy where a buyer has given a seller an extra, 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days to move out?
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob. Mike Luzzy, how are you?
Good. How are you, Mike?
Good. Listen, I just going along those lines. I just listed a property today, and it's a longtime client of mine, and he's looking also for another property here in Boca. And, that's kind of a tough thing. But he was on the fence about listing the property. So I told him, look, let's list the property. Let's get it out there. You could always ask for a longer closing or a post-occupancy and feel comfortable with that. And that's exactly what we did. And it just came on the market today. And that's what we'll do. I mean, I think that kind of gives the seller, a little more comfort to say, okay, I'll do a longer closing and work it that way and then get the property on the market. Because that's the thing. And something will come up. You just work a little extra harder to find the list, find the property for them. And it usually works out.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a career person, you have the customer's interest at heart, Michael.
Of course, yeah.
You're going to get it done. And I also want to just use this term that I've brought up on a few of these of, having blind faith that things will work out, right?
Yep.
And, you get, later on today at 5 o'clock, I'm getting on an airplane in Norfolk, and I hope I land in Newark. I have a pretty good level of confidence it's going to work, right?
Yes.
And, we just need to let people know that, hey, we've done this before, we know how to land the plane, and we'll get you the result that you want. So thank you for sharing. And then for our Florida team, I as of right now, Monday, I'm looking to be in our Parkland office. Tuesday, for a good part of the day, I'll be in Plantation with the There's a FERPTA meeting with Seth on Tuesday. Check your calendar. And then Wednesday, I'll be around Boynton and Delray. And Thursday and or Friday, I'll be up in Vero Beach next week. So that's the confidence, and it's not false confidence. It's the confidence that you need to have to talk to potential sellers, you know, about making the decision to put the property on the market and put it on with us. Heather, did you have a question?
Yeah, this stuff is kind of not really as challenging as what I'm calling FISBOs. And they're just like, yep, no, they have them like, no agent. Doesn't matter what you say. I'll do an open, like, no, it just, they have it in their head. And now more than ever, they have it in their head.
Bridget,
Oh, wait.
Bridget, you remember yesterday? What was you remember our discussion? You're on mute. We can't get her off of mute. The little button on the left, maybe, Bridget, should be there. All right, so, and Heather, this is something that we did in the last in-person call session in your office. Give Bridget another second. Oh boy. So anyway, the answer was, when you're calling FISBOs, and Heather, if you want, you can unmute yourself. When you're calling FISBOs and you're shooting to get the listing, right?
When were you there? I always come when you come.
It was probably a year ago, maybe even more.
I was there.
We were calling for sale by owners in your office, and the conversation went to, hey, I understand you don't want to list your property with anybody, right? Rather than argue with them and say, hey, blah, 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 you can do this. I had mentioned to him, hey, so when you sell your place, where are you moving to, right? And I said, hey, do you have an agent yet that you're going to work with? And being that they're trying to sell it on their own, good chance they don't have an agent they're going to use to buy with. So they're probably going to be open to working with you on the buy side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Because people are like, oh, well, when I work with you as a buyer, you know, the seller pays the commission. So it's basically something that I can tolerate.
No, but these are FISBOs that are sitting there. They are so stubborn. They just dropped the price. They have horrible pictures.
Slow down for a second, okay? You're going for the appointment. You're trying to convince, like, some people don't believe in realtors, okay? So those people probably don't believe in our profession, correct? They tolerate it. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to convince them, and I think you got to go backwards. And the way that I think we need to operate there is say, hey, could I help you with buying a property? Probably half of them would say yes. And 99% of the people calling them don't even pivot to that. Right? And say, hey, I respect the fact that you're selling it on your own. When you go to buy, you know, could I see if I could help you on your purchase? Simple, right? Now, follow this logic, Heather. Let's say that you met with them and you showed them a few houses and they found you to be their professional and they're comfortable working with you. Do you think after you showed them a few houses, you'd say, hey, how's the home sale going? Do you think I could help you once you've built a relationship? And how much easier is that going to be? Okay. And I'm going to ask Ron, imagine that if you start working with them on the buy side, then they want to list their house. It would be really rare that they're going to say, nope, I don't want to work with you. Right. Because you've already built that trust.
Yep.
Okay. And Tom, I think was it last week I shared the off-market report, right? And it showed that homes that are off-market sell for 17% less in the Bright MLS, which covers like 9 states. Was that something I talked about last week? Anybody remember? All right, well, I'm going to talk about it this week. So the Bright MLS has a report, and I'll put a link to that report on the sheet that I had here. I'll find it, I'll put it on there so you don't need to look for it. But it showed that homes that were not exposed to the market in the Bright MLS, which is 9 states, sold for 17% less than homes that were exposed through the MLS system. So if you paid 6% and you got 17% more, you know, I guess I am good at math, but even if you're not good at math, that's an 11% benefit to you, right?
Is that in the, so what, 17% more?
17% more. And you can send them that report. It's very relevant. It's recent and it's relevant. You say, hey, you know what?
Where can we find it?
I'm gonna put a link to that report on the sheet that went out with today's bomb notes, okay? So if you look at that, yeah, hopefully I'll have it on before 11 o'clock. But that to me is that's
Hey, Rob.
evidence. Yes.
So that's a phenomenal point you just made. And the easiest transition for me when you get these objections is, if I could show you, would you? So you give that, you have that document and you say to the seller, listen, if I could show you how I could probably get you a minimum of 10% more than you could get on your own, would you? Would you at least talk to me? Would you at least? So if I could show you, would you? It's a phenomenal transition and it works almost every time.
Yep. If I could show you what you just get them in the right mindset, right?
That's it. And the other thing that I want to just mention, because I've been listening to a lot of comments, your job when you get on the phone with a FSBO or you're talking to an expired or you're on an appointment, part of your job is to find out what the problem is. Because if they don't have a problem, they don't need you. And they all have a problem because they're trying to do it themselves, typically. So your job one is to identify that problem. And then you go on from there. The other really helpful phrase that I use is that the only thing keeping you from getting started? Or is that the only thing keeping you from doing business? Or whatever you want to, is that the only thing keeping you from letting me help you? However you want to phrase it, because now you isolate it down to what the real problem is, whether it's commission or what have you. So just some little tips that I've been using for 30-some years. So,
90% of for sale by owners, when you call them, are going to say to you, I would say 90%. I would say they were all going to say to you, we don't need a realtor. So we have a friend in the business, or I have a relative in the business. So you have to overcome that objection and say, oh, is your friend local? If they say yes, okay. How long have they been in business for? You know, if you can get a conversation started with a for sale by owner, the first 60 seconds of that conversation is to get their wall down so that you can actually speak with them. And if you're not empathetic, and if you're not, if you don't have the script to actually talk to them, they're just going to hang up on you. So once you get them comfortable with talking to them, anything I could do to help you get your home sold? No, we don't need a realtor right now. I understand, you know, I'm not, if there's a possibility I can come by and take a look at the house, maybe we could do some numbers. If the numbers make sense, maybe we could do business together. If they're still not quite ready yet to invite you over, then you can ask them, well, where are you guys moving to? How soon do you need to be there? Do you have a realtor that you're working with? I have a realtor in that city. Can I put them in touch with you? So maybe you won't get that listing, or maybe not, you know, get that appointment, but at least find out where they're going to, so you can get a 25% referral fee. And if they're moving laterally in your area, you can help them find a house to buy. And then you got a buyer, like Rob said, if they're willing to work with you, and you can start showing them property even before they sell the property. If they like you, they're going to list the property with you. It's a given.
All right.
So I'll give you.
Good, Bob. Rob.
I'll give you one more statistic, because I know Rob likes statistics, and this is one you can grab from the National Association of Realtors, and it'll tie together what Ron just said. If they say something to the effect, well, we don't need a realtor or what have you, you could go back to them and say, well, 7 out of 10 people feel just like you do. If there's a chance that you won't be one of the 7 out of 10, I'd like you to think of me. And if you are, I'd like you to say, wow, Rob was really helpful. You're going to come across someone that may not want to do it on their own, and you'll think of me. So 7 out of 10 people end up listing with a realtor.
So
3 end up on their own.
So Rob, I want to just add this comment to that is, and some people would say, Rob, that's crazy. Why would you do that? But I would say, if you're talking to a for sale by owner, right? I would give them the best possible advice for them to try to do it on their own. But I know the value that we provide. I wouldn't give them bad advice so that they fail. I give them good advice. And if they are unsuccessful in selling the property on their own, they're going to know I gave them legitimately good advice. They're going to call us. If they are successful, it might be like somebody earlier on said that they were referred to somebody who never used them, right? They're my realtor, right? And they never worked with you. That happens a lot because you provided value and you helped them, okay? You don't want to say, I want to give them bad advice so that they fail and call me back. There's bad karma going on there. It's not going to work, okay?
That's right.
So I wanted to share, I just found this, Heather, you had asked, I'll put it on the sheet, but I found this, here's the study. And if anybody else has any studies like this that they know of.
Third year, we've conducted the On MLS study, and we're excited to share our results. For this research, we examined more than 1 million home sales transactions taking place between 2019 and the first quarter of 2023. Using public records data, we identified true arm's length real estate transactions, excluding foreclosures and short sales, excluding multi-parcel sales or intra-family sales, and excluding really any other type of sale that wasn't a typical home sale. So then we're able to determine which homes were listed on Bright MLS and which homes were sold off MLS. Finally, we used statistical methods to compare sales prices of comparable homes that were listed on and sold off MLS. There are 3 main findings from this year's study. First, the vast majority of homes sold in the Mid-Atlantic are listed and marketed on the MLS. Furthermore, the share of transactions taking place on MLS has actually increased since the pandemic. Between 2019 and the first quarter of 2023, 84% of homes sold were listed on the MLS, and that share increased from 81% in 2019 to nearly 86% in 2022. Second, homes that are sold on the MLS bring the seller a higher price than comparable homes sold off MLS. So over the 2019 to 2023 time period, the on MLS price premium was 17.5%. And that on MLS premium has also increased over time, going from 13% in 2019 to more than 18% in 2022. And third, there is a significant benefit to sellers when they list and market their home on Bright MLS. In 2022, a seller listing their property on the MLS ended up bringing in a price that was nearly $54,000 more than a similar property sold off.
Were you guys?
I read that before. Yeah, I've heard that.
Did you, now, I guess I didn't, my video, my screen was not shared there, or was it?
No, but we heard it though.
No.
Right, hold on. But anyway, so I'll just give you for a second, you just see. So here. This is like, I guess we could.
Off MLS.
We could send this video.
Now, while our study looked primarily at the benefits accruing to sellers, the MLS also provides important benefits to home buyers.
So there's a study, and then there's a document that you can download and email out to clients, and you could say to them, look, if you want to sell it on your own, that's great, but I just wanted to share this information with you from a third party. Now, for me, if I watched that or I read it and I found that properties exposed to the MLS sell for 17% more, do you think you might want to, you think it might be easier, Heather, to get that person to say, when can you come by?
Maybe. Where is this? Can you send this to us?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the, I'm gonna try to
Cheat.
put the video on there, and I'm gonna show you where it is on the Bright MLS. If you need to borrow our logon, you can go there. It's
No, but you have this actually like an article, something we could send, like
yes, I do, but
not a video, like an article.
I do. So calm down. So here, if you go to
You
research
calm
here,
down.
research on MLS, right? Here's the study. Here's some of the data, and then here's the complete study. Download it on MLS study. If I put it onto Google Drive, and then I'll share it on the document. So it'll be here on this document. I'll put another link up here, okay? So if you're talking to for sale by owners, Bright MLS, even if you're in Florida, I think it's, hey, it's the most extensive study from the largest MLS, and you can use it there. So is that helpful for anybody?
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Can we access Brighton MLS also? Do you have
Who's asking?
Mickey?
Yeah, so you can borrow my login.
Okay, thank you.
So then we have an opportunity to sell the house to a friend. That's exciting. Off-market properties have some positives, but can I also tell you what makes me nervous? I'll bet you're a bit like me, and you want to get as much out of your property as you can when you sell it. There's a study from Bright MLS called the MLS study, and it shows that homes off the market sell for 17% less. The number 17% less than if you had sold them, if you had someone aggressive like me marketing the home, getting you the right traffic and negotiating to optimize the sale and get you 77,000 more on your home. And what Tom did is he used the average sale price and the percentage in his market. And then did you know that you are actually going to have to sell your home 3 times? This is not necessarily related to the overcoming objections, but I think it goes towards educating consumers, right? Educating home sellers. The first sale is to the agents to get them to show it. The second sale is to the buyers and get them to make an offer. Then the third sale is to the bank to get it to appraise for financing. I don't think consumers really understand that, and this goes towards if they're going to, say, hey, we're trying it on our own, but if we don't sell it, I'm going to list it with my niece. She just got her license, right? The chances are the niece is not even going to be able to get the right amount of agents to show it, and probably won't be able to position it to get the buyers to make acceptable offers. I think those are some pretty key distinctions that, we don't do a great job communicating as an industry. So, is anybody excited about calling for sale by owners now besides me?
Every day.
Tony, you want that study, man. It's going to help you out big time.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is great there because
I don't see them.
Huh?
I don't see it on the Google Doc.
I haven't put it on there yet. When we finish the meeting, I'll put it there. So stay on the document.
Thanks.
And
Anybody
if you don't have it, I have one I create for my own. I use it all the time. Rob, this is Karma with Remax. And if you like, you can actually I should say, take the information and just put your own logo and your own photo if you need it, Heather.
If you want to share that with me, Karma, I can maybe put a link to it on the document if you're okay with it.
Yeah, but it's not coming from the Bright MLS. It just I had this flyer a long time ago, and actually I did use your advice.
Put it on the chats here.
No, it's a whole flyer. So I'm gonna send it to Rob, and you can send it to you. So I did actually use your advice when you say, you know what, you are selling by yourself. it is actually, if it was an agent, 17%. So basically you are losing 12%, number one. Number two, you cannot compare yourself as a for sale by owner to the multiple listing that has thousands of agent comments show your help. The more showing, the higher price you will get. And I just got a listing yesterday because of this comment. Thank you.
You're welcome. So,
Usually I use the NAR, what do you call the National Association study. Is the one for 2023 up already from NAR? Do you know?
The one I have is an old one. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not,
I mean, I don't know if anybody knows if that one's up. Ron, do you know if the new, probably not up yet, the 2023 buyer study, home buyer and seller study? What I'll do is I'll look into the home buyer study.
Yeah, because that's nationwide, and people, you know, they can relate to. I mean, maybe it is bright too that it's the way it's laid out. It's good too, but that one there, it's also nationwide. It's
All right, so somebody says it's only up to date to 2022. When it comes out, we'll talk about that on our meeting here.
Okay.
It's 10:31. Any last questions before we wrap this up?
Rob, I did speak to Legal Hotline about the buyer's brokers agreement and about the commission and putting it on the contract and all that stuff. You can't put a commission. If a listing agent is offering 0% to buyer's broker, there's two ways you can try to get the 2.5% or 3%, whatever you can try to get, by using either a commission agreement, which is on I got this from Form Simplicity, so I don't know. I think it might be on our transaction desk also. But you should have it, like we talked about, every buyer should have the buyer's broker agreement. Okay, and any time that you see a 0 commission to the buyer's broker, you can say to the buyer, listen, I'll show you this property if you really want it, to take a look at it. They're offering 0 compensation for the selling broker. However, if you would give me permission, I can send along with your offer the commission agreement. You have to get permission from the buyer. The buyer says yes, put it in writing that they're giving you permission. It's also on your buyer's broker agreement too. So Legal Hotline said if you do it in those orders, in that order, then you're most likely to get a commission back. Now, personally, we've been selling properties here for 40 years. I've never seen 0 commission to a buyer's broker. And I think it doesn't make any sense for a listing agent to do that, because you need the strength of the MLS and other brokers to participate in the sale. But if you do, then you have the buyer's agreement, which I would recommend highly. I read this thing over and over and over again, and I highlighted it, and I'm going to go over it with my agents on Tuesday in my Tuesday classes, and the commission agreement, which is a way to get yourself a commission.
So Ron, once we have some data points, since this 0 commission is new, it'd be interesting to see how homes with 0 commission sell compared to homes that are offering a 2 to 3% commission.
Yeah.
I don't show that.
I don't know if I'm going to be the one that does that study, because it just seems like a hot wicket right now, but certainly something to look into.
Yeah, Rob, just a quick, I'm sorry I was only on for the second half of this, but I came on right when you were asking about if anyone has tried to, lease back the house, if a buyer has tried to lease back the house to the seller. And I just wanted to quickly relate a story that happened with me in 2020, where we found my buyers found a house the first day that it showed up on the listing agent's website. It wasn't even on the MLS yet. We called up the listing agent and made arrangements to see the house that day. I had a conversation with the listing agent also. When we saw the house, my clients absolutely wanted it. And I said to the listing agent, we're going to write an offer right now for the house. For for the full asking price. We have a home sale contingency. Is there anything that the seller is looking for? And she said to me, yeah, she's not looking for a home sale contingency for sure. But the other thing is that she said to me that she'd really like to be in the house for like another 5 or 6 months so that her daughter could have her wedding in the backyard. So we structured a deal, and we said, you can stay in the house for 6 months. We'll work at the use and occupancy agreement. I'm gonna tell you today that I'm gonna list these people's houses tomorrow, and it will be sold by the end of the weekend. And I'll show you the documents. And she my said, God. hey, let's do it. This is like the perfect answer. And I think the main thing that came out of this too was the confidence. My confidence in that we were going to get this deal done. I was going to get their house sold in 4 days. And that's always the key to making things work, is having the confidence to show them what you can do.
Well, Robert,
Rob,
thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Rob, I have a meeting to go right now, so I'm gonna ask my admin to email it to you by between 2 and 3 o'clock.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Everybody, thank you for showing up, and have an awesome, productive weekend.
Rob,
Rob.
it's Lisa
Yes.
Grande. While you're
Thank
in
you, Rob.
Bright, I think you could help
Thank you.
clear my membership for Bright.
Thanks, Rob.
I'll call you directly, Lisa, right now. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao. Have a